It's Friday. It's one more day in a hotel room before we head back to the studio. But since it is a Friday, we have to start Friday the way we always start Friday, don't we? So let's start Friday.
Come on, man. Go for it, dude.
It's Friday! Friday! Friday!
Friday here on SDH AM. John here, you there. Thanks for hanging out once again. One more day in a hotel, back in the studio on Monday. And it is a stacked show when it comes to Major League Soccer. We've got a lot of stuff to preview for the weekend. NWSL is back in a little bit. I think match week 2. I think we're going to be catching up with Jen Hildreth, and because Jen is in her March Madness hashtag trademark. That is her time of year. She's tied to conference championships, and I think she's got the women's tournament next week. So 2 weeks we'll catch up with Jen Hildreth and see if we can find out what's going on in her mind as the NWSL is up and running. We'll catch up with voices in that as we go. Maybe see if KCD has anything in mind when it comes to the beginning of this season. A lot to look forward to with the NWSL this year, and that's kicking off this weekend. Later on in the show, we'll break through the Premier League and everything else that's going on this weekend, catch you back up with those kinds of things. Here's the rundown for the morning. And the first part's going to depend on airports and airport travel. So, morning, Alex. Dave Leno is supposed to be joining us in the first half hour. And we will catch up with Dave as best we can because they are trying to hop on a plane and come down to Atlanta so Philadelphia can take on Atlanta United. Dave is going to join us for however long he can join us between now and 9:30 for opposition research. And we'll catch up with Dave and find out what his thoughts are about a very, very busy week for Philadelphia. They're playing their third match in a week by coming to Atlanta. So we'll see how they differ in the midweek from the loss to San Jose, how they're doing philosophically, and how they're still searching for their first win of the year. So we'll kind of process all of that. Dave will join us hopefully whenever Dave can join us. 9:30, Michael Parkhurst is going to join us, and we'll find out about his season number 10 and what it's going through his mind with Atlanta United, maybe get a mogul and training update with Rhode Island FC, and we'll find out what's going on there. 10 o'clock begins our Apple review. Jorge Perez Navarro is going to be joining us at 10 o'clock. Jess Charman is going to be joining us at the tail end of the show at 10:45 to let us know what's going on in her mind as we get ready for Atlanta and Philadelphia. But to start things off with Atlanta and Philadelphia, we catch up with our buddy Dave Leno for Oppo Research. And you, sir, okay, so you have – when are you leaving, by the way?
Couple hours. I think the plane departs. We want to be there by 12:30. So I've got some time. The guys are going to be. I was down there for training yesterday, getting things ready to go, and it was pouring rain here. And then actually we got snow as I came back from the training ground to my area of Philly, and here we are. And I think the weather's supposed to be. I think I was told like 70 something in Atlanta tomorrow. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to getting to better weather down south. That's for sure.
No doubt. No doubt. I just hope that your travel plans are not like Tigris's travel plans heading to Cincinnati, man. Just get from point A to point B and let's get to it. First off, thanks for doing this on the hop and being our Oppo Research. I'm the one in the hotel room this time. And day 3 of 4 coming up after the show for the high school championships down here in Macon. So with the course of the time you're coming to Atlanta, I'm in Macon, 90 miles south of you. So I bestow upon you saying hi to everybody when you wander into the press box. This is a very, very busy week for Philly, and it's going to be the third match in a week for them. How, as you have been able to see matches 1 and 2, either in person, on tape, what have you, doing research, how do you think they are physically coming into an important match as you have two teams chasing after their first wins of the season?
Physically, just being down there yesterday and talking with several of the guys and the staff, I think they're all right. I think they're ready to go. There was like Jovan Lukic in the past was battling a little bit of a rib issue. There were a few other guys up top like Alido that had a nagging injury, and several guys in the back like Frankie Westfield had a little bit of a hamstring, but they've been playing. So that's good. That's a check mark for me. I think that just with this insertion of all these new players And then you had the logjam of the schedule at the Union R due to the success we had last year, winning our second Shield, and now playing CONCACAF Champions Cup. They went from Spain with several new guys, a little bit of a break back home in the Philly area, then to Clearwater, Florida, and then right to Trinidad and Tobago to Defense Force. So some may say, hey, well, you've had all preseason to gel these guys together. But others, I think, around the game would say, well, preseason's preseason. And we want to see, that could be quote unquote simulation. And we want to see actually game action. And I will tell you that the other night against Club America, that the Union were very good in the second half, in my opinion, generating a ton of transition moments, which I think we did not see enough sharpness, clinical play in the final third, maybe in the early games, even going back to the first regular season game that I called in DC for game 1 of MLS. So I think that's improving. My question for the team moving forward, especially in the Atlanta matchup, is can we win the ball a little bit higher up the field? When we win the ball quickly, because our counter-pressing metrics that I've talked to you before, John, we're at the top, going back to last year, even going back to prior years. So the question is, how do we get back to doing that? And I think it's the partnerships that are still being figured out between guys, and when to go after a ball, when to deviate. That for me, just that synchronicity needs to be sharpened moving forward, especially with this matchup against Atlanta, where they played a good game against RSL, and they're fighting for points just like we are. So it's going to be tough.
So when you're looking at two of the Police's best albums, two of their best songs, Synchronicity 1 and 2, who do you think is in Synchronicity 1? Who do you think is in Synchronicity 2? Who is progressing and in those relationships, and who still needs some work, do you think?
Yeah, I think the forwards, and this is no secret, I think the forwards still need a little bit more gelling with one another. We had the partnership last year of Ty Baribo and Bruno Damiani. Some may say on the surface, two very similar players. Now Ty scored a couple goals with DC, and I'm very happy for him. And now Bruno has to figure out that relationship, whether he plays with Augustine Anello, who has more of that 1v1 bite. Bruno's a more back to goal type of guy, but still could be in possession, be very good, could take a quick shot. Milani Lasky has played the 9. He's played the 10. Do you want him in more of a creative playmaker role? If you're putting, the 10 on Elaski, we talk about partnerships and being in sync with one another is, hey, when can he, learn to find those through balls or balls into the channels to get some crosses in from a Nate Harriel, Frankie Westfield, or a new guy, Philip Dinga, who I just talked with yesterday, new left back signing coming from a Swedish club for the Union. And that, to me, I would say, if you talk to Union people, they would say defensively, the team's been pretty sound, even though there's been a whole lot of change back there. I think nearly a different defensive, alignment for the team. I'm talking about personnel-wise with the back four. Offensively, I think there's still questions. I think the metrics show that we're getting entry balls into the final third. It's just the end product isn't there. How do you get the end product? And that's, Ezekiel Alado was deployed in a lone striker position, last game. Does that continue? So I think Bradley has told the media that, he has to be adaptable to whether, we're going to play in a 1, striker system, where we're going to play the 4-2-2-2. And then how do we tactically flex, throughout the game? So I think that it's what I would like to see is just a game caller is the Bruno Damiani's, Alados, Anello, Indy Vasilev, Milani Lasky. I'm talking about the attacking midfielders all the way up. Even Kevin Sullivan had a great game, I thought, against Club America when he played. So there's been rotation. There's been better second halves. My question is going into Atlanta again. Another question is how do we start the game well in that first 10 to 15 minutes, setting the tone on the road?
When you look at how things are, this is not something that is I think, out to the edges when you're building offensively. This isn't something out to the edges and you're trying to work stuff into the middle. This is, I'm gonna grab you and just mash you right in the face, and I'm gonna come forward with it. With Atlanta looking the way that they do, and I guess this is where we're kind of looking at matchups and X's and O's, I guess. If Atlanta, say, is looking at things with latte lot, if you go with the 4-2-3-1, and you and I both know that formations are just kind of a loose construct until a whistle goes. If Atlanta is the 4-2-3-1 in quotation marks with latte lot up top, and you're looking at Miggy, a central midfielder, and Miranchuk on the right-hand side, does your gut tell you it's going to be the 4-2-2 because you want to have that one more trying to defend coming back the other way? What does your gut tell you formationally, in quotation marks, about what Philly might do here against Atlanta?
Yeah, look, the gut and the backbone of the team, the DNA, is the 4-2-2 under Bradley Carnell. So if you ask me from the outset, that's what I would expect. I think a lot is also on Danley and Lukic, who were terrific last year. I think really unsung heroes and big stories to the Union's success a year ago. They need to help whoever starts at center back. The new guy, Jeff Siri, coming from Norway's SK Brann, was a vice captain with them. I mean, I watched him a lot, like doing individually yesterday at training, winning aerials with another defender, and just working with the staff. I've really grown to like technically how he plays. Good in the air, good on his feet, can be brave. Is always brave, like to win that 10, 15-yard sprint to go win a challenge, vacate his area, and then like an Owetu Makanya has to cover him in kind of like a sweeper role in the back. But then it's like I talk about partnerships. If those guys get forward and a high line of confrontation to the wonderful players that you spoke of, and Miranchuk did have a brace, right? Last game, their first 2 goals for Atlanta, is in a counterattacking situation. Who's going to be there to deny a latte lot, Miggy, where he will drop in possession to get on the ball? And, he has freedom, I think, under Tata to float everywhere to get on the ball and then create that transition moment for Atlanta moving forward. That's a key for me, is like denying Atlanta in transition and a counterattacking situation. Because if we play a high line, meaning we get our defenders all the way to that midway line, the halfway line, and we get caught, because our passing, some may say that have watched the Union, has not as been strong as we saw last year. If that get cleaned up, where we're stringing 3, 4, 5 passes, and Atlanta's deferring, saying, Union, you have the ball, go break us down. That's where I think we need to be sharp, and they're working on that in tight spaces, that decision-making, which I think a lot of teams do with those little, mini games that they play. And so, like I said before, it's an Owetu Makanya, it's a Jeff Siri, it's a Lukic, a Danley, to deny time and space to latte lot. For me, one of the other keys, denying Atlanta in transition, but rest defense. And maybe I'm simplifying a term here, but when we have possession higher up the field and we lose it, again, we can't fall asleep in the back when they move. I don't think we've been caught so much, thinking on the fly here, John, in, too many like counterattacking situations where, the other team has numerical advantages. I mean, the one goal San Jose scored with Timo Werner, where he kind of like a cheeky half turn and then he crossed the ball in the boot and scored. That was a fabulous goal and a great play by the German international. I tip my cap to him. Besides that, we've been there. And then the last thing is set pieces. Set pieces have been the backbone of the Union. I think I said to you the last time I was on, we've been one of the best in the world set pieces. And Iloski has done a great job at that. Indy Vassilev can put it in, among others. But when you lose a Kai Wagner, who was your maestro of set pieces, it's a different wrinkle. So, we lost some terrific players for the Union, but I think the guys, like hearing from Nate Harriel, Lukic, others around the team, Iloski, I think they're revved up to turn this thing around. And they said after the Club America game, look, even though Club America has been like topsy-turvy in their league, if we can hang in with them in the second half, and we lost in leg 1, we got to parallel that success, I think, in Atlanta. And I think it's going to be very hard. Atlanta, as you know better than me, has a ton of new players. Their back line's very, very different. Some of their attacking pieces are the same. So I'm looking forward to seeing, how, we can win the ball like the middle of third of the field and then go. And that's where we were good. Can we score in that like 8 to 10 second range? Like there was a goal that we scored, which was Indy Vasilev's like second-minute goal in Montreal last year. It was scored on a quick tackle, and then we quickly scored against Montreal. That's what I want to see. And when I see those moments, which there have been one or two in games recently, but when I see the end product, then I'll be right. Then I'll say, hey, Union are trending in the right direction.
Dave Leno, Oppo Research, hanging out with us to kick things off here on Friday. And you've opened up like 19 questions again for me here. Here we go. You mentioned, getting higher and Atlanta coming in transition. Tata Martino, one of the things that he has tried to impress upon the roster this year, be the protagonista, be the one going forward. Don't be the one that sits back and lets the action come to you. He wants them to be aggressive. He wants them to go forward. And if you're making a mistake going forward, cool. That's great, because the fact is you're going forward. Think of it, like we do when we're talking about American football. If you have a chance to flip the field, then you're going to flip the field and you've got possession. And so, if you end up having to punt the ball and it ends up deep in their territory, or if you fumble it deep or something, don't be afraid that you've made a mistake. Don't worry about those kinds of things and keep pushing and pushing and pushing. Let the past go and keep, with that DNA working forward. You mentioned that with fullbacks, and I thought that was really interesting. I think that that's something for folks to look at. The transition opportunities for Atlanta in that opportunity where Philly gets caught up the field. I think that that's something to look at for at least Atlanta's perspective if Philly gets caught. Can Atlanta be clinical in those situations? As you mentioned, same for Philly, being clinical and finishing those shots. Second balls, and this is something that you were talking about, where you have these kinds of opportunities where, okay, so ball is launched and you have a joust and you're trying to figure it out. I think that duels and duel percentages and second balls are going to be huge. From what you've seen so far this season, who are some of the guys that have really stood out for you in winning duels so that second ball is Phillies and not going back the other way?
Yeah, I think that needs to be guys like our sixes, like Lukic and Danley in this game. Even Jesus Bueno has come in and been strong. Even guys like off the bench, which might be surprising, but has been like a lightning bolt for the team. And that's Stash, is how he likes to say his name, Korzeniowski. Atypical path, backup forward, comes in off the bench. And, he's been great coming from the college system at Penn, Ivy League school in PA, and then going through Union 2 and get rewarded with a first-team contract. He's been good at that. But, John, you make an excellent point. I mentioned a couple guys there. Jeff Seary I would put in there as well. But I want to see me and Sebastian Letou, Union legend, calling the games. I'll tell you, that's where I think the Union staff would tell you as well. We need to see us winning a little bit more second and third balls. And I think that's an excellent point you bring up. That is a key metric to watch out for in this matchup. Because you could say, hey, Union, you win a second ball, but then how quickly are you retaining possession to go up the field? And I think a lot of people watching who maybe casually follow the Union know we're a team that doesn't like to play with a ton of possession. We don't care if the ball's tilted. So if Atlanta's going to have a lot of the ball, that's fine. But quickly, when we dispossess Atlanta, I'll be curious. Hey, when's the pressing cue in this matchup? If Alzate runs in between your Atlanta center backs, for example, are we letting him go, and then are we going to line up in a mid block? Or are we going to say, hey guys, we're going to quickly press, or are we going to let the center backs pass east to west? Or are we going to line up at the top of the area and say, hey, we're going to go after the first pass out of the back to the guys on the outside? That pressing cue for me is something to keep an eye on. And for those that are following this matchup, when are the Union going to go? When is Atlanta going to go at the guys? And if Atlanta commits the numbers up the field that they will, and the Union are going to put 8-9 guys behind the ball, when we're deeper, like I said earlier today, like, hey, we want to win the ball high up the field, but when we win it deep in our own end, can we play that quick 1-2 pass up the field? And that, I think Union fans would tell you, hasn't been there because, John, what I've been seeing over time, and this even goes back to last year. I mean, Bruce Arena and others have deployed this mid block against the Union. And it played so narrow between the lines, and I'm talking maybe from my broadcast perch, maybe, I don't know, 30 yards from the first line all the way to the last,
Mhm.
and making it difficult for the Union to pass through the lines. And can a pass from a guy in the back, like a Jeff Serial, Wetu Makanya, or an outside back, can it break a line down from Atlanta, with the young 17-year-old kid Sanchez, or I mentioned Alzate, or somebody else?
Yeah.
Can we break a line down where we're like in a 4v3 situation running at your center backs? And I'm seeing it in training work out really well in the type of situations that the coaching staff is putting the team in. Is like, can you replicate that into a game action? There was one instance of the game that I called against San Jose where like Indy Vassilev had like an overload on the right-hand side to the goalkeeper's left, and we just missed the final pass. And I think, again, I mentioned the word sharpen a lot. If that final pass is there against Atlanta, I think we will have success. Now, I will tell you lastly that the Union have had a ton of success against Atlanta. I think we're unbeaten the last 5. I think we only lost 1 of the last 12 against Atlanta. But, those are just numbers. And these are 2 teams now, coming in 0-3 in regular season play, fighting for points. There's a long, long way to go. So I caution both fan bases to say, I know a lot of people are very concerned, but I think there's going to be a lot of jockeying once one of these teams, musters up a few points. Obviously, as a Union guy, I'm hoping on the road that the team can come out strong and brave. And I'm curious if the new left back for ones to follow also in the matchup. Spoke to him, Philip Dinga. His name's spelled Ndinga, but he just goes by Dinga.
Right.
Played in Sweden, and he's a guy, like I mentioned, tenacious, get brave, can win a challenge. Will he put in the type of crosses like Kai Wagner will? I don't know, and I'm not expecting him to. But I think that area of the Union's attacking chance creation has been missed. It's like, hey, can we put in 3 or 4 crosses and a half? Some games, yes. Some games, no.
Michael Parker is coming up bottom of the hour as we continue here on a Freestyle Friday. How do you think roster rotation will be, or will it even exist, considering that this is 3rd match in a week? Are you just anticipating Bradley Carnell's just going to roll it out and go right now since we're early in the season? What do you like? What are you thinking?
I think you're going to see a first choice 11 out there against Atlanta. Now they play Wednesday the 18th at Club America in Mexico, and then they play the 21st, not to get too far ahead, back in MLS at home in an afternoon matinee against Chicago. So I'm thinking from the staff, and I don't know the lineup, but I can tell you that I think you're going to see the guys that are expected to be starters at this point, like an Wetu Makanya, like a Jeff Siri. Dinga did play the game against Club America for a good amount of minutes. So there's a question at left back. Does he roll with him again? Is he good to go? At right back, do you go with an 8 Harriel or do you go with the Frankie Westfield? Do both of those guys play? So that, for me, I think Atlanta's sitting on the scout saying, hey, what are the Union going to do there? But everybody else working up the field, the Olaskis, the Indy Vasilevs, we'll see if Cavan will start or come off the bench. Decision up top with, you have Alado, Augustine Danilo, Bruno Damiani. I think they're still trying to figure out that partnership. But I think the Union staff internally, I'm sure they have a plan where they're working in 5-game increments, maybe even more, maybe less, and saying, here's what we're going to do in this matchup. Here's what we're going to do at Club America. Rick started against, is doing the Champions Cup in goal. Andre Blake has been playing the MLS game. So I think teams and folks can figure out what the rotation may be. But if you talk to the staff, there's an emphasis on both competitions. I think now it's like your game, getting ready for Game 4 MLS on the road against a struggling Atlanta, 2 teams that haven't gotten a point. I think you need to go down there and say, we got to come out with at least 1 in the matchup. So the guys that are healthy and ready to go, which I think I said at the top of the call, I think is really everybody's geared up and ready physically. I'm expecting a exhilarating matchup really against two teams that I think need to get after it early.
You ain't kidding, brother. All right, so if you would please cut the promo for me for a broadcast that is as sharp as Indy Vasilev's mustache. Hit me.
I can't pull that off, John. That's for sure. He's got swagger, man. That's for sure. Well, first off, let me say I want to give a shout out to you and this great show that you have in promoting our wonderful game around the world. You know, I always say that, so thank you. I know you got a busy morning ahead.
All good.
Secondly, I want to give a shout out to the Atlanta broadcast crew, Mike and Jason, and the whole staff do a tremendous job. I've even caught your Atlanta 2 broadcasts, which have been terrific. Madison is Madison do your play-by-play with Jason?
Yeah, Maddie, me, and Jason. Yeah.
You guys do a wonderful job. I've seen the behind-the-scenes clips. Keep posting them. Shout out to all you. Lastly, our union broadcast on the road is at our Philly sports station 97.5. It's free to download the 97.5 The Fanatic app online. We're on an HD2 channel because I believe the Sixers and Flyers play. So we're on 97.5 HD2 at 8:60 a.m. Locally. And lastly, I think the Hawks have a 3:00 game as well, right? So it's going to be busy in the Stadium District tomorrow.
Yeah, I think that means that United might be on Star 94. I'll double check it, but there's somewhere in there. It's going to be a part of the chain, but you just follow your socials to know where they are.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to a great game. Hopefully, the Atlanta crew has a wonderful broadcast. Looking forward to seeing them at the Benz. Always love doing a game from there, just from a Philly guy and the Philly perspective. And I hope there's a ton of chances for both teams because that leads to a great broadcast. So can't wait.
And as always, my friend, thanks for dropping by as you always do. You know the red carpet is out and the garage door is there for you. Just be safe coming down, and they'll be able to see and make sure the ice cream machine is working. By the way.
Oh, there you go. That's something I need to lay off, though. But,
Carvel ice cream machine was working at home match 1. Get your swirl and just go for it, brother. Just get down here safely and have a great call. We will catch up with you on the flip side. Be safe, my friend.
Thank you, John. Thank you.
There goes Dave Leno. He's now going to pack, and he is going to rush down here, or at least 90 minutes north of me anyway, and be ready for the call this weekend. So that's great to catch up with Dave and get Oppo research about what's going on with Philly. Hopefully that will help out from the Philadelphia side. Jess Charman's supposed to join us in the last 15 minutes because she is at practice this morning. Talked to Tata Martino yesterday. We'll find out what kind of intel she is allowed to discuss. And we'll break it all down for her from her. So it is Jess and Lori Lindsay, I believe. And so Jess and Lori Lindsay are on the call for Apple, and we will be catching up with Jess in the final activity of the show as we get you ready for yet another weekend. But it's always great to catch up with Dave, not just on a matchup per se with Atlanta, but any opportunity that we have to catch up with Dave about things, official term. It's always great to catch up with Dave, and cannot thank him enough for the kind words about everything that we're doing here at SDH. As he is part of our Rolodex, and to be able to break bread with Dave and find out what's going on in his mind, it's always great to catch up with him. Michael Parker is set to join us in a couple of minutes. We'll find out what the latest is with him. And then, okay. So, Abby, I will. So thank you for that. Morning, Alex. Morning, David. Thank you for being down here in Macon as St. Pius got their first ever state championship. And that was on gpb.org, and the GPB Sports app. After the show this morning, that's when I put the Superman outfit on, take it to the Macon Coliseum, and get ready for everything there. And so we will have that all day long, today and tomorrow. And David, you see the picture on socials. You see that David shot the picture of the trophy presentation for his beloved Golden Lions. And so they won yesterday. So morning, David, morning, Abby, morning, Jordan. Let's see. And we will give, and Abby, I will lead off with the note to Parkey. So we will do that this morning. So Michael Parker is once again set to join us. And I do have a USL question for him, and he can answer it to whatever extent he wishes, considering the current situation. And we can ask, and he can express whichever emotions he wish as a mogul in training when it comes to uh, everything involving the difficulties right now in the NUSL Championship. They are going on with their season, and we are going to find out what's going on with Parky and find out what is going on. So it is 9:30, so we catch up with our friends from Beyond Goals Mentoring. Yo, Parky, what up?
What is up, Mr. Nelson?
That's my father. You know that, sir.
Yeah, I know. How you doing, John?
I'm in a hotel room in Macon, by the way. I am not in town. I am down in Macon for the high school basketball championships. So, yeah. So
excellent.
Day 3 of 4 of the marathon, and so I will be watching everything north of me from Middle Georgia this week. I do have well, Abby has something that she wanted me to tell you. It's in the Twitch pitch, but I wanted to also let everybody else know who are just listening this morning. And I do want to talk about season 10 and all these kinds of things. I would like to ask the mogul in training a question, and he can answer it to whichever extent he wishes, considering the current situation involved in that league that is attached to the mogul in training. May I ask a question?
Sure, of course.
Where are things right now as best as you can explain? Because we know that it is a difficult situation right now, and I'm using that word on purpose, to be a neutral observer in this between the players and ownership in USL Championship right now, the USLPA, and there's still no collective bargaining agreement. I guess, where are things right now as they stand? The season is still going. Games are still being played. But how would you best characterize where things are right now between the two parties, even with the season going on without a labor agreement?
Yeah, to be honest, John, I wish I knew more. I haven't really been involved in any of the negotiations. I was on one call. That was an update call. But other than that, I have not been on anything. So I don't know a ton. But I haven't heard anything that games won't be played this weekend.
Right.
So that's good. But of course, I understand the player side of things. There are a couple organizations in the championship that need to do better, flat out. They need to do better. And, I know that every team is losing money and it's a difficult business. But that's also the business of professional sports in general. So, I feel for the players in some regards. We take good care of our players up in Rhode Island. But I know that they all have to band together. But that's challenging as well. I just hope that we can avoid a strike. Nobody wants to miss any games, either side. So, the conversations are ongoing, which is great. It's not like there's radio silence. So I think everybody wants to find a deal. It's just finding one that nobody's happy with, but content with.
Yeah. And, since you have been on, I guess now technically you've been on both sides of this discussion. From a player's perspective, knowing that you can empathize with them, as the leagues themselves have grown and how professional soccer has grown in this country, how have the relationships, have they improved over time between management and labor? Has it more just kind of like a coexistence? Does management on the whole, regardless of what league we're talking about that you've been a part of, did they understand where the players are coming from to that point of being content? Is it still adversarial at points? Is it can you characterize how the relationship is between players and management these days and how it's grown where it is right now?
Yeah, I think it's tough. I think it depends on what organization you're at. I think everybody knows that regardless of what league, right, there are owners and ownership groups that do things differently than others. And some look after their players and some spend a lot more money than others. And
why would you not? That's the thing that gets me, because you mentioned that some clubs are better at taking care of their players than others. I mean, it makes too much sense that you would want to treat individuals as you treat folks as you wish to be treated. And you said off the top that there are some clubs that need to treat their players better. It doesn't make common sense to me. But I mean, I can vaguely see it in an economical sense. It just doesn't make common sense to me that you wouldn't do that.
Yeah. And I think that most of it, when I see it, I think most of it is just economical. They just don't want to spend the money to do it. But not everything is about money. You don't have to be the highest paying salary team in order to treat your players well, right? And some of it, I think, is having people making decisions that don't know the player side of things, don't understand the player side of things, don't know the ins and outs of those types of relationships. So that's part of it too, because it is sometimes just small little things, like how you handle the wives and the families, and where do they sit, and the meals before training and after training, or it's not just all dollars as far as salaries. Of course, there's going to be teams that outspend others, but you can still look after players and have just a good approach with players that some organizations don't.
You get to bring that to the table with your time up there in Rhode Island, being that extra perspective. It's like, hey, have you thought about X, Y, or Z, and helping the players along and understand that they're a part of a larger family? Have you had the chance to contribute those kinds of ideas?
For sure. And that's one thing that we stressed from the beginning, that we wanted to make sure that we were a destination players wanted to go to. And that's basically because of how we treat players on and off the field, and the environment that we provide for them. And again, we don't have a training ground. We train at the stadium, which is not great. I don't want us to be training at the stadium, but the reality is it's going to cost us $20 million probably to find space, build it. There's not a lot of space up there in Rhode Island. So it's an expensive endeavor after just building a very expensive stadium. So it's not easy. But we can do other things off the field, right? Take care of guys, take them out to eat here and there, take them to golfing, set up different events, right? Have the wives together for a meal, right? There's little things that you can do to make sure that, hey, these guys feel like that we care about them on and off the field.
Okay, enough management and labor talk. I wanted to ask, just because of your perspective and where things are and everything. It's season 10 for Atlanta United. It's been a while since we've been able to catch up.
Mm-hmm.
Random question that popped into my head. From that first team that you were a part of, who is the most random individual from that roster that you still have regular conversations with to this day about your time together at Atlanta United? Do you and like A.W. Oswell, or who's the most random person in your Rolodex that you still call up on a daily basis?
That's tough. Nobody on a daily basis other than Greg, right. Brad, and Jeff here and there, Alec here and there. Bobby and I have a good relationship. We do connect here and there, but it's not even monthly. That's a good question. I don't know if there's anybody really. I'm being completely honest about often. And that's crazy because, I was talking about that not too long ago with somebody. You get very close with guys when you play with them.
Yep.
And when you move on, it's just like that's part of the gig. And you stay in contact here and there, and you can hit guys up, and it's like no time has passed. But, even somebody like Jeff, who I was obviously very close with, we speak every few months. And
you do most of the speaking, I'm sure. Since he is Webster's dictionary when it comes to conversation.
Very true. But yeah, when I do look back, I'm like, oh man, I forgot, so and so was on the team, or you think back to relationships, and I kind of reminisced the other day because I'm finally, John, starting to put stuff up in my basement.
There you go.
And so I was looking through a bunch of memorabilia and trophies and medals and stuff, and I came across like things that I didn't even know I had or forgot that I had, or some pretty cool stuff.
Oh, question mark?
Yeah.
Like what?
I guess I'll have to take some pictures and post them. But I forget the gentleman's name right now off the top of my head, since you put me on the spot, but he made a couple posters, and one of them is me and Miggy and I got Miggy to sign it before I left. It's really cool looking. And then another one is me, just says Captain Atlanta, something like that.
Well, yeah, and that's what Abby was talking about. So they cleaned out their Tifo storage closet and found the Captain Atlanta banner. 6 1/4 by 6. Do you want it? And if you don't, when next time you're in town, can you sign it? And they can use it as a fundraiser for the Gulch, the umbrella for the 6 supporters group. So let Abby know. But yeah, they found their Captain Atlanta banner.
Well, that's way bigger. The one I'm talking about is a poster. It's probably that big. It's really cool. It's got a great design on it. But yeah, I'm happy to sign that, Abby. We should absolutely, if it can help you guys, let's do that. If nobody wants it, I'll take it. But
see now, and yeah, that would be like an entire wall down there in the office. That could be your new background and everything. You sit there for all your phone calls and everything. Use that as your new background for all of your stuff. When it comes to this season, and Tata's back, Tata 2.0, and he said it's going to be a long-term fix. Be patient. And you're finally getting goals scored. You get to see the importance of Alexei Miranchuk, and as a starter and everything. How patient are you as a part of that family about wanting to see things flip the script and be better than they were last year? How patient are you?
More patient because Tata's the coach than I think if somebody else was the coach.
Okay.
And that's just because. Sorry.
I get that. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, just because he's had the success, and not only with Atlanta, obviously with Miami, and he's taking over a roster that he's had very little control over, which I guess any manager coming in would have been in the same spot. Mm-hmm. But I will say at the same time, golly, has it been disappointing. Man, crazy. And I know that Alexei was a little bit injured. Maybe that's why he didn't start the first couple games. And I know that Galarza, which I cannot look at without thinking about Greg because the last name.
So we'll just call him Greg Galarza from now
on. He's coming in to help the squad. So, but geez, yeah, it hasn't been inspiring, I guess. I don't know if we've deserved points yet in a game. And, some of the goals we've given up, it's from a defensive perspective. You're like, golly, needs to be a little better. But I do have faith that they'll turn it around. I still think that we'll get into the playoffs. So, but you can't go 0-6, 0-7 or something like that and have a start like the Galaxy did last year. So. No. Things will need to turn pretty quick.
When you have mentees that are drifting into new situations, they're the new kid at school, and they're the ones that are trying to integrate and try to sit there. So they feel out of place. It's like I don't know if I belong here. I'm here, and I have to be here, kind of a thing because of geography. Do you get the chance to talk to mentees who feel out of place because they're the new kid at school and try to tell them about how to integrate and be nice? Do you talk about the off the field stuff when they're the new kid in town?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, definitely, because it's important. That's one of the most important things about joining a new team is getting to know guys off the field, right? Because if you feel comfortable with them, there's very few players that can feel uncomfortable off the field and then perform well on the field. Right? It takes a very special athlete to do that. One who really doesn't give two anything about what other people think of him. And there's not that many of those out there. It's tough. So for sure, that's a big aspect of getting into a new group. And we talk about that because it's easy for some, right? For some players that are outgoing, it's easy to make friends. But you have your introverts who are more quiet and, they struggle a little bit in making those new friends, and it's difficult to be the new person. So we talk about, how to best go about that. And we also talk about, hey, don't forget, you'll be bringing in a new person at some point too, right? So remember all these lessons and remember what you liked about somebody that talked to you, helped you, aided you in this transition, and make sure you're that person for the next one.
treat others as you wish to be treated. It's like the theme this morning.
John, to interrupt you real quick, yes, it was definitely Iron Tooth.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So yeah, the Iron Tooth designer from the early days. Yes. So yeah, Ropes is on it this morning with the Iron.
Yes, Alex as well posted. Yeah, said something about it.
Yes, yeah. Iron Tooth. So yes, Alex and Ropes, they're on it. They're far more awake than I am. So, but yeah, and I wanted to ask that just as one of those things where we always feel peer pressure. And to this day as adults, we feel peer pressure because of where we are with our work and what we're doing with our jobs and things like that. And I've always thought that dealing with peer pressure is one of the most difficult things as a young person to deal with. And it's amplified now because of social media and all these kinds of things. And, when it comes to peer pressure specifically, you mentioned being the new kid. How do you best tell your mentees about dealing with peer pressure, which is far different than when you and I were of that age these days?
Yeah, we try and approach it gently because you can't just say, "Hey, don't worry about peer pressure.
Right? Everything's fine. Rub some dirt on it. You'll be all right."
Yeah, because then that doesn't go well.
No.
But we do talk about how not everybody has the same goals and not everyone is trying to achieve the same thing. And so you may be a high-level soccer player as a sophomore in high school, and you may have a bunch of friends that either don't play sports or they play sports, just for their team in high school, or, maybe they play on a club team, but don't have the exact desires that you do. And so sometimes when goals don't align within a group, right, there leads to, hey, some people want to do certain things, but you have to make the choice of, does this align with what I'm trying to achieve, or does this possibly hurt what I'm trying to do and achieve? And those are the tough choices, right? So finding ways around those types of things, right? I think that we give into peer pressure every now and then, of course, as far as, hanging out with people or doing things around school or what we wear or what we eat sometimes, right? And that's okay. But some of the bigger things, you have to take that extra second to think about and say, hey, is this going to hurt what I'm trying to do? And that's the type of peer pressure that we really need to kind of, okay, hey, can we step away from this in some capacity without hurting the relationship or without putting you in a place where, hey, you're going to get made fun of or you're going to lose friends or that type of thing?
How much of a constant reminder does that have to be with your mentees to have them take that breath, step back, understand context? Because understanding context when you're a teenager, you're more into that immediate reaction. It's A to B, and then you think about consequences later. If it ends up being something that's a negative, you don't want to be left behind. You jump into a situation, it's bad, and then you've got to figure out twice as hard how to jump out of it.
Yeah.
For me, peer pressure was one thing, but peer pressure today and having to deal with it. How do you steer folks away from that direct A to B and then messing up and having to double back out of stuff? Is it normal conversations? Is it constant reminders? Do you get to sit there and say it once and it clicks? What's the trigger sometimes?
Now, of course, like everything, everybody's a little bit different, but I will say that in general, and I don't know if maybe it's because of where I'm living currently.
Yeah.
But kids are pretty responsible and they're pretty on top of things and they want to do well in school. And there is that vibe. Now, kids are going to be kids. And of course, there's trouble here and there. Right. And even good kids are going to get in trouble every now and then. Right. And we talk to kids about, hey, if you do get caught up in something, apologize, stick your hand up and take responsibility, because it'll go way better for you from that moment on, right? Don't pile on the mistakes, just like we talk about on the field, right? One mistake and that's it. So that'll happen. But in general, I'm pleasantly surprised by the younger generation of, it seems like they've got a good grasp of things. And now social media is a beast in itself, and maybe that's part of it, right? They can kind of get all that stuff out on social media, and then in person, they're a little bit better. I don't know if that's as a whole good for society or not, but, I don't see the bullying as much as what I remember growing up, which is a great thing.
So that is cool that the bullying doesn't appear to be there, especially because of the immediacy of social media, where you could get called out. You sit there, that's
Mm-hmm.
this happened to me, and I'm going to post it, and I'm going to get it out there in the ether and everything. But that's interesting that you are seeing, at least in your sphere, that the younger generation seems to be handling it better than those of us who didn't have social media growing up and had to just kind of deal with it and either jump in and be a part of the pack, or just be the outcast. That's cool that you're seeing it that way, but that's also, to me, I would think, but just because of all these different amplifiers and noise, that the opposite might be true. But I'm glad that you're seeing that it isn't.
I'm sure that it exists, John. I'm not saying it. I'm
Right.
not being naive here. That it doesn't exist, and there aren't kids that are struggling with it, or there aren't some, kids that need to change their behavior, right? But just talking in general.
So, where are things right now with mentoring, and how many thousands are you mentoring right now with? Well, I mean, because we got spring schedules going on here in the South with the high school soccer. How many are you dealing with right now this time of year, where we're in early March and spring is about to be here? What's your schedule like normally?
On a weekly basis, probably doing about 15 to 20 sessions. Greg does probably about 40.
Wow.
Yeah, he's got a crazy schedule. But right now, I'm helping out a lot of like juniors who are hitting the big time period of recruitment, and prepping them for that and the upcoming showcases and tournaments. Right, it's a big year for juniors right now to get out there and get seen. So focusing in on that, and ID camps and those types of things. So a lot of college focused stuff right now. But then we did just announce, which is something I'm super excited about, is I'm going to do this center back academy. 4 weeks, 1 hour every Sunday with Jimmy Conrad. So the two of us are going to just do this thing focused on center backs and center back play. And we're going to watch videos together. We're going to talk about different instances and talk about training off the field, and what helped us and what made us successful and what we see. So just passing on like kind of the Rolodex of information as much as we can get through in 4 weeks.
So how many, I guess, how many hours in the 4 weeks are you sharing your CBU knowledge here? Totally.
There'll be 4 hours in person, but I think we'll set up a Discord probably where we can offline talk and shoot things over and talk through things and share videos and all that type of stuff.
Okay, so for center backs, if you were to have these rising juniors getting into that year when they're supposed to be being looked at by every college on the planet, off the field, what is the most important trait of a center back? And on the field, what is the most important trait a center back can have?
Oh, off the field leadership, probably.
Okay.
On the field, reading the game.
Okay. How long did it take you to understand the game in 3 dimensions, where you could sit there and play Vulcan chess while everybody else is sitting there playing checkers? How long did it take you to sit there and have the game settle in front of you, and you could see what was happening and not think too much and just react to what was going on as a center back?
Yeah, and that's always a balance. Thinking, but not thinking too much.
Mhm.
What can your brain put on autopilot, which is really important. And it only puts things on autopilot once it's done it many, many times, and it feels confident that you don't have to think about it. So a lot of those things you just need to do over and over again before it goes on autopilot. And then once it's on autopilot, it frees up the brain to think about something else or look at something else, which is really powerful. But yeah, reading the game's always been, obviously when you have a physical prowess like mine, reading the game becomes more important than for others, but even somebody like Jimmy, who was bigger and more physical, he read the game really well, and sees the game really well. And we talk about things. He'll send me a clip because he does some coaching. He says, "Hey, what do you think about this?" And we'll talk through like different little situations and scenarios. And that's kind of where we got the idea. Hey, why don't we do something together where we really help out center backs? So yeah, it's going to be fun.
What if you could build the prototypical center back, and I'm talking physically and mentally, not just 6'2", 225, 4'5", 40 kind of a thing. If you could build the perfect center back, what would that individual look like?
Oof.
And is there an individual that fits that archetype, that has come across in playing the sport?
Probably.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know off the top of my head though. And I didn't watch guys, like Eddie Pope and Robin Frazier, as far as here in the US. I didn't watch them a ton growing up. I saw them every now and then, right? But I didn't watch a ton of soccer on TV. It wasn't as widely available. So it's tough for me to say. But there's no doubt having a bigger frame as a center back is useful.
Okay.
Especially at the highest levels, right? I mean, you can't play in the Premier League without being. It's very difficult, and that's why somebody like the guy that for Manchester United, the Argentine, I forget his name right now. He's little, and what he does is impressive, very, very impressive, because it's such a physical league. But in general, I think that bigger is useful. But for me, reading the game, and this is where, like, I talked with Miles a lot, because Miles has got the physical attributes, right? Where he's so fast and he's strong and he can jump, and he gets away with things, right? Where it's like, I couldn't get away with things, so I had to be on mentally every second because I needed the head start. I needed to be in the right spot. I needed to do those things. Otherwise, I wasn't going to win the ball. Or I was going to be in a much tougher spot. Whereas other players, they're thinking, oh, when it occurs, I'll react. I'll go do it because I'm faster, I'm stronger, I'm bigger. Or if I'm not, I'll just go win it. But they are not realizing that you can make life a lot easier if you can avoid those situations. So, a bit of calming brain, somebody that sees the game really well, but physical attributes is a benefit.
Yeah. So I guess the body of Harry Maguire and the brain of Lisandro Martinez.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to double check that because yes, Harry Maguire is like 7 feet 4 inches tall. Lisandro Martinez is not, but Harry Maguire's brain is known to go walkabout occasionally, and Lisandro Martinez is not. All
Maybe
right.
Somebody with a little more agile than Harry, but
yes, absolutely true. All right, so center back U's coming up with you and Jimmy Conrad. What else is going on with Beyond Goals as you get to the rising seniors? What else do we need to know about?
That's about it. Honestly, we putting together the program for college players. It's taking forever. It's so much information, which is a good thing. But other than that, we're just helping out kids as we go along. The high school season in full throttle, so that's been exciting to keep up with some of the kids that are doing that. Showcases galore. Greg's in a different state every weekend, so normal stuff.
Yeah, you ain't kidding. It's like, Greg is where? Yeah, he's over here. Greg just needs to clone himself, and then it would be all over with. Where's Deacon? Sleeping?
Oh yeah, she's in a normal spot here, John. I can't have a meeting or a call without Deacon. She's got her soccer ball and her blankie.
Yeah, she's ready for that one too.
Living that good life.
Yes, and by the way, just to warn you, sir, since you sent the package to the house and it is awaiting its proper frame, since you sent the label, you know that you've been added to the Festivus card list.
Amazing.
That's how it works for the boss, man. You get an address and it's somebody like that, then you know it's going to happen. It's great to catch up with you, my friend. Great to see you. Don't be a stranger. And keep kicking, with everything up there with Beyond Goals and with center back U. And now we just need the gear now. We just need the center back U, like college gear for you and Conrad. I think that'd be pretty sweet.
That's a good idea. I like that.
Market it.
Enjoy your basketball, John.
Yes, sir. Be good. We'll see you soon.
Have a go.
All right. There goes Michael Parkhurst. And this is where we do the hot tag. It is time to kick off hour number 2. And for this, we catch up with our friends from AppleTV. Jess Charman's going to be the caboose today. She's going to be coming up in about 45 minutes. But what we do is we raise our hand and we lunge to the turnbuckle because the hand is over the top rope. And this is where we bring in Jorge Perez Navarro, and we find out what is going on in his mind and what it's like to hang out with Cello Balboa on a weekly basis and how he controls him and keeps him from jumping out of the booth. Good to see you, my friend. Thanks for dropping by the morning show.
Good morning, John. Thank you for the invitation, and I hope we are playing as baby faces and not heels, because I always like to be on the good side, especially with Cello. Because if not, if you're on the dark side of Cello, he'll go straight to your ankle, cleats first. You know how he played in the 90s.
Yeah, no, we are faces here. We are like the rock and roll express of soccer morning radio. See, that was a reference for me in this particular part of the footprint. Who was your favorite face tag team growing up?
You know, I was born and raised in Mexico, so if we talk about wrestling, I have to go to a different culture. But beyond a tag team, I grew up with the Steiners. But my very favorite wrestler was the Stinger. Oh,
Fantastic!
it's showtime, folks.
Oh man, so have you ever had to do the Stinger splash on Cello on the air just to kind of get into kind of dial it back a bit?
I don't think I can make it all the way across the ring. I mean, probably half of the way I will have a cramp or a problem with the ankle. I don't think I can go all the way like the good old Stinger.
Oh man, that's fantastic. I love that. You and I could probably go down the wrestling rabbit hole, but then everybody would sit there and go, "Well, this is a soccer show." But we'd sit there and go, "We talk wrestling all the time. That's just how it is when it comes to characters and such." If you were to look at the first couple of weeks of this season from Major League Soccer, I guess, how would you characterize the good, the bad, and the ugly from what you've seen and what you've been able to glean this season? What is your GBU coming into this match week?
Oh my God. I mean, I think that every year in MLS, it's an unscripted story. I mean, when we are requested for who do we think is going to be the champion, who do we think is going to win the Supporters Shield, it's a very long season. Everything can happen. And I think the real contenders start coming out like around mid or late September, depending on injuries, depending on how they work the second transfer window. But so far, I mean, everybody's putting their money on Miami, and Miami is still holding there. It's tough, but we have to see the second half. One of my arguments is that we saw when Lionel Messi had international duty with Argentina in Copa America, how tough was that year to be able to finish it on a good note for Inter Miami. That's still a pending story. LAFC, I think, is one of the good ones because they're taking it over where they left it in 2025, but with the big difference that they have a new coach. That was my biggest premise. How would things work out now with the new man in charge and not with Cherundolo at the helm? Apparently, everything is fine. Apparently, everybody's in the same note, and everybody's committed to the project. Also, how about San Diego FC? We were talking to Mikey yesterday because I'm about to go to the airport to go to do the game in Frisco. And we were asking him straight, do you think that you guys are playing at the same level? And he had no pity on saying, we're playing better. And I do believe that they are a much better team because now those youngsters are accumulating some experience and they're doing much better. Like the case of Bombino. Oh boy, that kid really can play. And how about this other kid that he always, Mikey always had great words when they went for it in Philadelphia. First, they got a loan and then they purchased it, David Vasquez. He had a wonderful performance the other night against Toluca. And I think that one of the biggest aces that are pending is Alejandro Alvarado, who had a terrible knee injury last year. But when he comes back, it's going to be a very interesting addition to the midfield in San Diego.
You mentioned San Diego, and I know that you and Cello are prepping for that one in Frisco, as you said. So I want to go back to the midweek and ask about what we saw in CONCACAF Champions Cup. They're not intimidated by their surroundings. It's just like, go ahead, bring it, we'll be fine. It was one of the more chaotic matches, or really one of the more CONCACAF-y matches that we've seen in recent memory. and they're going to be playing 3 matches in a week, coming off of all of that emotion that was in that particular match at the Murph Dragon. What do you see going into this matchup against Dallas with all of that energy that's already been expended this week?
If you allow me just to add to the point that you made, John, it's not only three games in a week. It's probably the cruelest part of the schedule so far, with 5 games in 2 weeks, because they have to also play the second leg against Toluca and come back for MLS activity. So it's a cruel 2 weeks. And now they're starting to travel. It's not only the trip to Frisco, Dallas. They're going to stay there. Then they're going to go to Toluca and come back to the States. I think this is the biggest test so far to see how good depth this roster has. And Mikey agreed about that on our conversation yesterday. But he trusts that he has like very good competition in every single position. They added a couple of very interesting kids. I mean, I think the right fullback position has always been the question. There was a moment that the 4 players were injured. Now this year, he started moving Bombino from the left to the right, and he's giving the opportunity to Kieran Sargent. He's doing good so far. But now, for example, Verhoeven is back on the mix, and he is trying both sides. So he wants players that can play both sides and can be effective doing every position. Like Ian Pilcher at the end of the year last year, we knew him as a central defender. He appeared playing as a right fullback, and oh boy, that guy, number 25, he gave great matches not only to Mikey but to the whole San Diego community. It was amazing what Pilcher did. I think we couldn't get any starting lineup from Mikey. I mean, according to tradition with him, he doesn't like revealing the starting 11. But I came with the very interesting equation, like he has to mix. I asked him if it was Inversten and Manu Dua +9, and he just laughed. Man, you're smart. Yes, because those 2 are suspended for the second leg against Toluca. They got the red cards. As a matter of fact, Inversten gave the note seeing the red card in the very early minutes of the game. That brought the penalty kick against 1-0 down, and from there they came back to get a very important win, 3-2 over Toluca. They finished the game with 2 men down, and I was asking Coach Barras if Wednesday was kind of one of the very favorite moments for him in his tenure at the helm of San Diego, and he said yes. The highest moment for him was when they won in Portland and they secured the conference on their way to the playoffs. Now for them, it's that night and Wednesday night, 3-2 over Toluca.
Jorge Perez Navarro dropping by with us. Go ahead.
I think I lost you.
No, you're good. I can hear you. I just can't see you. Can you hit your camera back on?
I'm so sorry, but I can't hear you.
Okay.
Let me see. Something happened. I went to black, and I have my screen back. I'm sorry, John. Let me see.
Okay. Okay. There we go. There's good stage 1.
Camera is enabled.
And.
Oh boy. So sorry. I don't know what's wrong. Would you like me to disconnect and connect again?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's go ahead and do that.
Okay.
And we'll do
so
that.
Sorry about this.
No worries. We'll see you in a sec. So go ahead and knock out and come back in. We'll do that, and everything will be cool. So I think somebody tried to call Jorge Perez Navarro while he was talking to us, because he's that important a man, and it's always good to catch up with folks and find out what's going on in their brains when it comes to everything that's lined up here. And San Diego for me is one of those great stories that we have here in the last the last year and a half, really year plus. Where Mikey Veras, they built down the spine. He and Tyler Heaps, they did, and you got to see what it's looking like there. So let's go round number 2, and okay, go ahead and
gonna turn the camera.
Yep, there you go. So
boy.
I see like
it's the other side of my.
It's the other side of the computer, man. I know. That's wild.
This is my hand.
Yes, it is. That's crazy. I've never seen something like that before. That's wild.
Me neither. And I'm sorry because it is my first time, so I think I'm earning the possibility of breaking this tag team. I think I'm going to the heel side, right?
Man, no, it's all good, brother. I understand that you were trying to sunset flip the other guy, and you ended up running into me. I know how this goes. It's all good.
No. Let me just find out because this shouldn't be happening.
That's wild.
I should click here and appear the thing. Oh my God.
That's crazy.
I come from the Jedi era when we didn't have this type of technology.
Dude, I'm right there with you.
It was about the laser sable.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
That's wild. See, now this is the kind of stuff. See, I can go to everybody else here at the network and I can say, see, I'm not the only person that has these problems navigating computers. That's crazy.
Yes. I'm going to try again.
All right, go try again. I ain't going nowhere. You're good. So, wow, that was crazy. I've never seen that before. I have never seen that. Where legitimately it's like it's showing the flip side of his camera. That's wild. Okay, so the flip side of the camera is up. I see the outside. I see the outside version.
No. Let me see.
I see the outside version again.
Here.
There's the there's the see, now I'm learning about this too now. So this is an education for me, Jorge. This is wild. Okay, so he went to black, and all right, so he went back to that. That's wild. I've never seen that before. Where the computer just decides that it's going to have a mind of its own, and it's going to be just dialing. Okay, so once again, all right, so. See, now this is troubleshooting. This is great for me because I can see what's going on. So, okay, so I've got
no.
All right, yeah, I got you. All right, so you went to black, and then okay. So this is the beauty of technology. This is definitely a Friday. This is definitely a Friday.
You know the only good thing that I can rescue of this.
Yeah.
That you and I are gonna become like viral. And the show is going to have so much likes and so much hits because of the two old guys like trying to make the technology work.
Hey, man, it's all good. It's all good. I mean, look, for me, it's hilarious. I mean, I'm learning more than I ever would have learned about this kind of stuff. And that's why I trust the younger people to do these kinds of things. Worst case, just, grab your phone. We can do it off your phone. It's the same premise. So, I mean, it's no worries there. Although I did dig the studio space. This is wow. That's wild that it's misbehaving like this. That's
about
crazy. All right, so you're still black. I can still. It's like I can see it changing, but it's not changing in the viewfinder. It's like I can see when you flip a switch, but it doesn't pop up with your face or nothing. That's wild.
I'm so sorry. I don't. And this is my setting where I do everything. Let me, like so you said, let's do it with the phone.
What you're telling me, Jorge, is that coming on this show broke your computer. That's what you're saying.
No, actually, no. I think I'm breaking your concentration, and I'm very, very sorry for that.
It's all good, brother. No, this is a morning show. That's all the fun part. It's about a morning show and having.
Here I am. I'm with my phone.
There we go. Okay, and then turn your phone sideways.
Hold on.
So that way it takes up the whole screen. So there we go. All right. So there you go. And there you are. I had you there for a second on your phone. And then you went to black on your phone. That's wild. That is crazy. Okay. So there is that. And so, okay. So there you are. And wild. All right. So here, let me do. All right, so hang on just a second. Let me do this and this, and it's still thinking about dialing you in. That's wild. It is thinking about things more than the average bear. That's wild. So it's stuck in a circle. That's crazy to me. So all right, let's only do that. And like I said, we've got I have until basically 10:45 with Googie. Man, it's fun seeing two old guys struggling with computers. I mean, it's that's crazy. But yeah, Jess Charman's set to join us from the training ground at 10:45. And so, like I said, we can. I want this to figure it out. I'm to the point now where we've got to figure out what's wrong with his computer and his studio setup. That's where I am right now. And we were getting into the lineup, and I do have some questions having to do with San Diego FC and figuring out as they're getting ready for FC Dallas. I want to find out what's on his mind as he and Cello Balboa. You know what? I'm guessing this is probably Cello's fault. This is what I'm saying. I think it's Cello's fault. I think he's the one that did this. I think it's Cello's fault, Jorge.
You know, I got a message about some problem with the system because I tried the iPad. It was the first option. Mm-hmm. Then I tried the phone, and both got disconnected. I'm with the computer. This is like my last option.
Mm-hmm. Hi, we have you. You're good.
Good. Sorry.
No worries. It's all good. I'm just glad we figured it out with the system. We were getting into the San Diego discussion, and with Ingevartsen only lasting 12 in the midweek. And yes, we believe in safe guesting and hydration. That is absolutely true. Manu Dua obviously getting the red as well. They finished with 9. And you were discussing the idea that, yeah, they're probably going to start considering that they're not going to be around, on the midweek. So that's those 2 and 9 other dudes. And Mikey laughed at you when you came up with that. And he's like, yeah, that you were on top of things. Yeah. So what else are you expecting from San Diego going up against FCD?
I think they need to. It's very important to pace themselves.
Yeah.
They are playing 180-minute games now. For them, like Mikey said, and I think I've been doing working games of MLS since 2007. So the times that we can compete or we're very young, we're new at this, we are naive, that's way behind. I mean, that's way behind. Now it's time to honor a rivalry that it really exists with trophies. Mm-hmm. Seattle already proved that it's possible to do it. MLS are reaching more finals every single year that goes by. So now it's time to start winning. And I think San Diego has one of the best rosters that can probably honor that and put face in honor of MLS. This way, not even the goalkeeper position was defined. I think that Ferri, it's doing a hell of a job. 3 games, 0 goals conceded, which is amazing for a beginning, a rookie. He finally conceded the first 2 goals of his professional career against Toluca. But how funny, right? I mean, both were penalty kicks, not from a play, not from a kick from out of the box. I mean, both were penalty kicks. So it's like he's still undefeated. Mm-hmm. I mean, because a penalty kick, it's like a complete different stat. I mean, at least to me. But still, I think Cisniega, he has been extended. And do we still remember JC?
Yeah, I know.
Because I remember Mikey telling us midway in the season of 2025 that it was CJ and 10 more. Mm-hmm. That's how the team was built. Unfortunately, an accident knocked CJ out of the equation. Yep. Because what happened, I know that it was brutal. It was a terrible injury. CJ had to go for surgery. It's been a very complete and long process to heal. But things happened. You have brought to the conversation to Marcelo Balboa, and he broke his ACL before '94, before the World Cup of '94, and when those type of injuries take probably a year to heal, with a big question mark if your career was over, we're talking about 93, 94, he came back in 5 to 6 months. He came back to play at a World Cup. And things happened. Things happen. Why? Look what happened to Malagon the other night.
Oh, man.
I mean, he broke his Achilles. He's out. The doctor said 6 months. Okay, but things happen.
Mm-hmm. How underrated, it seems like every conversation we have about San Diego FC, You're talking about Dreyer, and that's an obvious talking point with what Il Paratero has brought to the table in a very short period of time. How underrated and how ignored, I guess, in the conversation about the importance of San Diego FC are folks like Ani Valakari and Jeppe Tverskov to their whole equation?
Well, first, the captain, Periscope, it's a warrior from the midfield. And sadly, that number 6 position never gets probably the right credit or all the media attention that they should. But that's where the anchor of the team relies. I mean, it's a very important player. And to me, it's when he's not there, you feel it. Now, Godoy, he brings a lot of experience. They lost De La Torre, but oh boy, Mickey really believed in this guy Soma, this kid Soma, because of his skills, talents, and especially the vision he has about the game. He has the last thing with the national team was with the under 20, and the kid I think has a very bright future ahead of him. Also, let me insist in this guy Alejandro Alvarado. I saw him play before the injury, and the kid has magic. So I think he has very interesting players. You mentioned 2 players that probably don't get the right credit, but there's another one who has covered a big hole because it was a very big hole to cover due to an extra football stuff out of the field stuff. Right. And this is Pellegrino. Yeah. He told the team mid-year. I don't think he was never a solution in San Jose. He was in and out. Never saw a good game of him. I mean, unfortunately, it's not that I'm killing the guy or I'm burning him or torching him. No. But it was one of those things that didn't happen. And I questioned myself, why were they interested? Well, I mean, we were talking about the scouting abilities of Mikey Barras while he was part of the FC Dallas organization in his early years as an assistant coach, as a coach of youth. But Pellegrino brought the magic, and nobody remembered Chucky Lozano, especially when the playoffs started. He took over, and everybody was asking about Chucky. But I mean, the answer is: do we need them? I mean, do they need them? Because Pellegrino and Dreyer did everything, and let's not forget that San Diego Football Club reached the conference final without a natural number 1 because Ingvasten practically spent the whole year injured, and it was like the only real and natural number 9 that they had beside Tomas Angel, who recently has been negotiated to the Colombian League, Atlético Nacional, if I recall correct. Yeah. So they did it without a number 9. But I think I saw a headline about the win over Toluca, and it said warrior mentality, and probably can be that, but also something that I have been hearing from Mikey every single time that we call a game is the commitment everybody has to this project. And it's not because I'm getting paid, it's not because of the fame, it's because they're really committed to a group of people that really want to succeed. And I think that in nowadays soccer, with the big checks and the fame and all the temptations that come with that, I think it's very hard to find such a committed long group to reach the same goal.
One other guy that I want to mention before we flip the conversation to FCD. Where was this version of Christopher McVeigh in previous stops? I mean, you look at him and he was, in the East Coast, Christopher McVeigh, he was just kind of, it was like, yeah, we're going to run at him all day long and twice on Tuesday. Where has this version of Chris McVeigh been? And that you have Mikey Barras getting to enjoy him as one of your center backs these days.
Well, I think McVeigh beat on the run to Patty. Patty left the team. It was the two of them considered to be central defenders. Manu Dua spent the first half of the year, last year, injured. But when he came back, everything was clear from Mickey. It's Dua and somebody else. And the kid has been there. The kid has had a very fast learning process, and he has been very effective. So I understand why he was selected with that high pick that they used,
Mhm.
and the conditions. McVay probably shows something that Patty didn't have. And McVay has some versatility. He can play as a central defender and also as a fullback. He played on the right. We were surprised. And oh boy, he gave such good performances. It was a couple of times that we saw him play as a right fullback, and we were very pleased with him. So I think that versatility made him win the run over Patty and stayed as the partner of Manu Dua.
Jorge Perez Navarro and Chelo Balboa getting ready for San Diego FC and FC Dallas coming up this weekend on Apple TV. And you look at FCD, and Michael Collodi is now taken over. We knew about him in MLS Next Pro. Martin Paz moves on. And so Collodi is now there between the sticks. You've got a young team at the back, and you've got some talented folks that are also, it's like young up front to help out Peter Musa, and young at the back with folks like Urahide and Collodi. When you see FCD, what comes to mind?
We were talking to Coach Quill yesterday,
Mhm.
and he said, listen, I mean, because last year was very tough for them, and probably the analogy is Coach Quill was hired, and he came to the team with a game plan, and a couple of days later, he was told that Acosta was joining the ranks.
Yes.
So the game plan had to go to the trash can, and he had to come up with a different kind of game plan because now everything had to be around Acosta, a former MLS MVP player. So things didn't work out with Acosta. He left the team for the second half of the season, and it was like trying to find in the old trash can the old game plan to try to make things work, at least for the rest of the season. I think that at home they were able to level things. So there were a couple of details that Coach Quill wanted to succeed, and one of them was he wanted to play like San Diego. So now we see that San Diego is not only like a very effective team, but they're creating a model to be emulated. When Coach Bradley Carnell was coaching St. Louis and then he moved to Philadelphia, they were always talking about the Red Bull model, the one of the pressing, the one that we all attack and we come back to defend. That's what it was said. Imagine a team that in just 1 year establishes a personality that now other teams want to emulate. It's amazing. And San Diego didn't spend the most money. Their best DP player happened to be a bust because he finished the year in a very bad note, and he wasn't even considered for year number 2. He's making a lot of money just to be training in the facility, and that's it. So the team, it's still flying. Now, FC Dallas, can they do it? I think they have a better roster, and I think they had more time to make things work better than last year. Again, the Acosta move changed things, and it was one of those things that, oh, damn, we're not going to the mountains, we're going to the beach. We have to rework the back. Bum, 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 bum. We put whatever we had and we leave the house running. And by the way, I'm so sorry, but I have 7 more minutes because I have to go to the airport. So sorry. I know I missed because my technology problem, but
You'll be out in 2, brother. I'm just going to keep you to the bottom of the hour. It's around
thank
number.
you. I think FC Dallas is a work in progress. Can they do it? I think they have a very great player, Petar Musa, that probably he doesn't get the attention and the respect that he deserves. Being very respectful to the people in Dallas is not the biggest market. So probably that plays against, because even when they were a contender in the previous years, they didn't get the media attention that get other teams. So it also plays like a note that the market is not like one of those big that requires all the media attention every single day of every week along the whole season, February to December. But I think they can do great things. And if they fly under the radar without pressure, that can help them to build a very good team.
Can't wait for it. You and Cello, just get out there safe. Have a great call. And you know that since you've got the garage door opener, you know the key is under the mat. You can come in here and crash. You didn't come in and vent your spleen about anything going on. I'm glad we figured out the technology. Send me all your helpful hints so that way if I ever have the same problems, I can know how to sort them out. This is not going to be a situation like where Ole Anderson kicked Sting out of the Horseman. This is not one of those times, man.
Oh my God. Let me go and see if I have my bat so I can come dressed in black and come with my bat. Oh!
It is Jorge Perez Navarro. Great to see you, my friend. Have a great call, and don't be a stranger. We'll see you soon.
Thank you very much, John. All the best.
All right, there he goes. He's got to catch a flight because he and Cello are making a call. Wow, Jorge Perez Navarro. I'm going to have to remember that one. Yeah, with all the makeup and everything. Now, if that happened for Halloween, that'd be awesome. And thank you for your patience and your patronage. Jess Charman set to join us in about 15 minutes. Yes, and Googie, that is true. That's why we have teenagers in the house. So morning, Googie, morning, Abby, morning, Alex. And let's see. So morning, Ropes. Let's see. Who else is here? Fateful Chaser I. We got to fix that one later. Let's see. Morning, Abby. Morning, Jordan. And let's see. I'm glad San Francisco was a good time for you. Morning, David. Let's see. It's a morning, Lokeville. And morning, Alex. And so, yeah, so Jess Charman set to join us in about 15 minutes. She is up at the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta training facility. She had her conversations with Tata Martino and with Bradley Cornell yesterday. We'll get her intel leading into that matchup, and that'll be the show for this week. All right, so let's get into juice boxes and let you know what's going on and who's in the middle and all of those other kinds of things when it comes to – no, I don't want that. You sit there and you type something and the computer sits there and looks at you funny. All right, so let's get into juice boxes and all of Major League Soccer before we get out of here and let you know what's going on in and around the planet, what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it, all the things. And we might go a couple of minutes past 11 o'clock just to get everything in, but we will do it. Wow, getting a crow call from Jorge Perez Navarro. That's awesome. All right, so juice boxes as we know them for the weekend. And we'll get into who's in the middle here in a bit. Early game 110 kick. Toronto is slightly favored at home against the Baby Bulls at a plus 150. Red Bulls are a plus 175. Atlanta and Philly, 325 kick. Atlanta favored at a plus 154. Philadelphia is a plus 170. Draws a plus 250. 625. Crew hosting Nashville at Scott's Miracle Grow. At the Death Star, Crew is a plus 104. Nashville's a plus 240, coming off of the week where they held Messi and friends scoreless. 740s. Charlotte is an underdog, understandably so, at a plus 240, hosting Messi and friends, who are even money plus 100, draws a plus 300. NYC and Rapids. NYC big favorite at home in the Bronx at a minus 172. Rapids are a plus 500. Purple team and CF Montreal, do they get an interim bounce with Coach Perelman now taking over for Oscar Pareja? We will effort Mike Gramajo for next week. Purple team is a minus 133. CF Montreal is a plus 333. And 840s. Chicago Fire, big favorite at home against DC United at a minus 154. DC's a plus 475. FC Dallas is a slight underdog at home to San Diego in Jorge Perez Navarro's matchup with Chelo Balboa. FCD is a plus 165, draws a plus 260. San Diego's a plus 154. Houston at 840, a minus 102. Portland a plus 300, a big game for Portland coming in. KCD will be on the call with that one with Christian Miles. LAG and Sporting Kansas City. LAG favored at a minus 182. Sporting is a plus 480. Those are your 940 kicks, along with RSL and Austin. RSL is a minus 105. Draws a plus 270. Austin a plus 275 at Rio Tinto. 1040. St. Louis City SC is a plus 800, taking on LAFC at a minus 278. And your draw is a plus 450. Sunday, 3 games, 240. Revs hosting Cincinnati. Juice Boxers don't care right now. Even across the board, both teams are a plus 160. Cincinnati coming off of their big win last night. And remembering, though, that their opponent flew in and I think landed at like 3:30 that afternoon because they were having problems leaving the country because of security issues involving the president and his visits. Revs and Cincinnati both a plus 160. The 440 kick, Vancouver is a minus 204 hosting Minnesota United, who's a plus 600. San Jose is your 710 hosting Seattle at a plus 120. Seattle, after their big win last night in Vancouver, is a plus 200. I would anticipate something akin to a rotated lineup, but how much of a rotated lineup, I don't know. So that is your rundown of juice boxes in Major League Soccer. So looking at pro refs and who's in the middle, and we can do a little bit of analysis there and let you know what your MLS assignments are for your match days. It is Toronto and Red Bulls. Chris Penso is in the middle. Michael Barwagon and Liz Arfa are your ARs. Philip Dujic is your fourth. Sean Tahini and Craig Lowry are upstairs. Atlanta United, Philadelphia Union. Marcus de Oliveira is the man in the middle. Jose de Silva, Tyler Wyrostic, your ARs. Alexis de Silva is your fourth. Kevin Stott and Jeff Musick are upstairs. We will look at Marcus de Oliveira's numbers in a bit. Columbus and Nashville. Fotis Bazakis is in the middle. Brian Dunn, Justin Howard, your ARs. Elvis Osmanovic is your fourth. Edvin Jurasevich, Jonathan Johnson are upstairs. Charlotte and Messi and friends. Guido Gonzalez Jr. is the man in the middle. Nick Uranga, Kevin Locke, your ARs. John Freeman, no relation, is your fourth. Jeff Gamble and Tom Supple are upstairs. NYC and Colorado. Brandon Stevis, that is a new name. Man in the middle, Logan Brown, Jeremy Kiso, your ARs. Sergi Boyko is your fourth. Kevin Stott and Jeff Musick. That is the night side of their day-night doubleheader upstairs. Orlando City and CF Montreal. Jair Marufo in the middle. Adam Garner, Gianni Facchini, your ARs. Tori Penso is your fourth. Daniel Radford, Christian Clerc are upstairs. Chicago and D.C. Sergei Demyanchuk is the man in the middle. Corey Parker, Mike Nickerson, your ARs. Atahan Yaya is your fourth. Eunice Marakchi and Red Hamill are upstairs. FC Dallas and San Diego. Ricardo Montero Araya is the man in the middle. Brooke Mayo, Walt Heatherly, your ARs. Greg Dopka is your fourth. Kevin Terry and Craig Lowry are upstairs. Houston and Portland. Rubiel Vasquez is in the middle. Eric Weisbrod and Ben Regal are your ARs. Timothy Ford is your fourth. That'll be an interesting conversation. Jorge Gonzalez and Mike Kempminer are upstairs. Galaxy and Sporting. Ismail Elfath, the man in the middle. Megan Mullen, Diego Blas, your ARs. Armando Villarreal is your fourth. Lucas Zapala and Fabio Tovar are upstairs. RSL and Austin. Elahio Adeguin is the man in the middle. Corey Richardson, Stefan Tanaka Freund, your ARs. Mark Verso is your fourth. Edvin Jurasevich and Jonathan Johnson are upstairs. LAFC and St. Louis City. Rosendo Mendoza is the man in the middle. Ian McKay, Felicia Mariscal, your ARs. Malik Badawi is your fourth. Daniel Radford and Tom Supple are upstairs. Sunday, Revs in Cincinnati. Lorenzo Hernandez, the man in the middle. Adam Winkowski is your AR along with Nick Balser. Pierre-Luc Logier is your fourth. Greg Dopka and Mike Kampmeinert are upstairs. Vancouver and Minnesota. Ricardo Fierro is the man in the middle. Chris Wadham, Gerard Cutter-Lebuy are your ARs. Alan Chapman is your fourth. Michael Radchuk and Christian Clerc are upstairs. San Jose and Seattle. Victor Rivas, the man in the middle. Corey Rockwell, Callie Smith, your ARs. Nabil Ben Salah is your fourth. Lucas Zapala and Fabio Tovar are upstairs. Now let's go into let's get into your numbers and kind of look at the history of Marcos de Oliveira and find out what it is to have him in the middle. And we'll find out, yes, accept all cookies. Goodness gracious. Let's see. So referees. No, stop it. I don't want to try it for free. I don't. Marcos de Oliveira. Let's see. All right. So let's see if we can see what the numbers are for referees when it comes to Major League Soccer, MLS ref, foul numbers. Now, it was who scored that we would use, right? No, I don't want stats. Oh, was it FB Ref? I think it was FB Ref. Okay, I think it was them. Performing security. Yeah. Security verification. I'm a human. Keep moving. Yes. Okay, so soccer history overviews. Let's see. Marcos D. Come on. You want to type something and you hit a button and it tells you that it's a tab function and it's not. D. Oliveira. If I could spell, I'd be in business. So, all right. So ref foul numbers is what I'm looking for here. So FB Ref, Major League Soccer stats, fbref.com. So, nothing like trying to full site menu, players, clubs, nationalities, player wages, leagues, full site menu, players, clubs. Where's my ref finder? Competition, scores, and fixtures. It's like I had it bookmarked, and now that I have a different setup, of course, everything is all screwed up. So I'll try and find the numbers for Marcos de Oliveira before we get out of here, and then that way you can have your. I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want that. So you're going to give it to me here. Maybe. Yes. Search referees. Marcos De Oliveira. Okay, next. Okay, so Marcus De Oliveira has only been in one in the middle this year. So Marcus De Oliveira, on average, throughout his career, only gives about 3.5 yellows a match, 3.6. He has been in one match in the middle this year, gave 2 yellows on 15 fouls. So doesn't call a whole lot of fouls, or has not when he was in the middle in this one match. But doesn't really go with a whole lot of yellows either. So Marcus De Oliveira, one match in the middle this year, 15 fouls given, lower end of the scale, 2 yellows given, lower end of the scale. Traditionally, 3.6 yellows, and he has been known to give a red card, but it's 1 in every 20 matches. So not really, a high end of the scale red card guy. So the last time he gave a red card in a match, just to give you an idea, in Major League Soccer was back in 2023. So Marcus De Oliveira lets him play, which I think probably plays into Philly's hands a bit. But Marcus De Oliveira, once again, not a big red card guy, not a big card guy, not a big foul guy. So we'll see what happens there with Marcus De Oliveira in the middle for Atlanta and Philly on the weekend. Just to let you know, once again, Atlanta United 2 and Huntsville City. That one is on Sunday, and that's going to be on the network. And that will be with Maddie and Jason in Athens. And I will be at the studio in Atlanta giving you all of your notes about the league and what is happening. Very, very busy week in MLS Next Pro. It will be 6:30 pregame. Kickoff supposed to be 7:02. And so Atlanta United 2 trying to go for 2 in a row against Huntsville City Football Club at home. And so they'll have the call a little after 7 o'clock for kick from Turner Soccer Complex in Athens. That'll be on the network. Go to soccerdownhere.net/listen, and you'll see our 3 channels up and running. And when you see the live notification going, big red button flashing, that's the channel that we're in. It's going to be on SDH 1, and that will be where it's located as we go for that particular, when we have things going on, multiple things at once. Might have been on 1 or 2, but since it's the only live event going, it'll be on SDH 1, and that'll be at soccerdownhere.net/listen. And then that will be where you can chase all of the intel and information all season long. Okay, what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it. And we'll let you know where things are with the soccer on the TVs, as the kids say. So this it's brought to us by our friends at Fanatis, fntz.co/soccerdownhere. And with that, it is a chance for you to gain more streaming services and get all of the intel that you need when it comes to anything and everything that is going on in the world with Fanatis. And you get all of the BNs, which means you get AFCON, you get the Polish League, the Turkish League, the French League, and it is an opportunity to see Libertadores, Sudamericana. You get the LPF out of Argentina. You get a lot of the different leagues that are in South America. You can add TVV, and you can get Venezuelan television if you wish to add that. So today, BN has the Polish League at 1 o'clock, the French League at 3:45, and CAF Champions League is at 6 with Rabat and Pyramids, simulcast obviously on BN and Espanol. ESPN Deportes has La Liga at 4 o'clock. The league that we don't talk about, endorse, or promote, they're doing that at 3. ESPN Plus available to you in the afternoon. It is the A-League, the Bundesliga, Bundesliga B, Drei Bundesliga, and La Liga. Paramount Plus has the English Championship. Wrexham and Swansea City, and Ryan Reynolds and Rob Mack are going to be doing play-by-play in color for that one. 4 o'clock on Paramount Plus. Serie A is at 3:45. Scottish Championship, the second division, Greenock, Morton, and Partick Thistle is at 3:45. Women's side of things, it's the beginning of the NWSL season with all of their advancements and everything, all the news that they've made in the offseason. Washington and Portland is at 8 o'clock on Amazon Prime. Peacock has the USL Super League with Carolina and Tampa Bay at 7 o'clock. Just to give you an idea about Saturday. BN, French League, CAF Champions League, CBS Golazo Network, triple header Serie A, Liga MX, CBS Sports Network, English Championship, bright and early at 8:30. Big FOX is Atlanta and Philadelphia, so it's a 3:25 kick. FS1, Major League Soccer, Columbus and Nashville, 6:25 kick. Fox Soccer Plus, Serie B in the league we don't talk about. USA has your triple header in the Premier League, Sunderland, Brighton at 11, Arsenal, Everton 1:30, West Ham, Manchester City at 4. And DAZN USA has a German Frauen Bundesliga and Spanish Liga Femenil. ESPN Deportes, quadruple header in La Liga like they always do. Fox Deportes Serie A, ML and MLS at 6:15. Telemundo, Liga MX, Chivas Santos Laguna, TUDN, Sábado Futbolero at 9 and 11. USL Championship, they have Detroit and Brooklyn. Detroit City and Brooklyn. Universo triple header in the Premier League and Liga MX, Chivas Santos Laguna, 7 o'clock. Univision Sábado Futbolero, 9 and 11. Toluca Atlas, Pumas Cruz Azul. Apple TV with all the games going on your Saturday. ESPN Plus. A-League, Eredivisie, Bundesliga, Bundesliga B, Drei Bundesliga, La Liga 2, everything in USL Championship and USL League 1. Cosmos kicking off against Portland Hearts of Pine, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Greenville and Chattanooga, Knoxville and Madison, Naples and Corpus Christi, Westchester, Charlotte, Sarasota, and Fort Wayne. Fox O&E has Serie A, Serie B, the league we don't talk about, in the doubleheader in Major League Soccer. MLS Next Pro, Carolina Core, Orlando City B Dayside, Tacoma Defiance, Earthquakes 2 Nightside, Paramount Plus, English Championship, League 1, League 2, Serie A, Liga MX, USL Championship, and the Premiership. In Scotland, Peacock, doubleheader in the Premier League, Burnley, Bournemouth, Chelsea, Newcastle. Women's side, Big ABC has Boston and Gotham for Boston's reveal in the NWSL. Ion has a triple header in NWSL. 4, 6:30, and 8:45. ESPN Plus has your A-League. NWSL Plus has North Carolina, Louisville. Peacock has the USL Super League, and that gets us to Sunday. So there you go. Soccer on TV for half of your weekend, brought to you by Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. So that is where we are with all that. And the game, just to let you know, okay, so Atlanta United and Philly is on WAOK. According to Mike, who is posting this on the Twitters, 1380 AM, 103.3 HD3, and the Odyssey app. So it's on WAOK, 1380, 103.3 HD3, Odyssey app, Apple TV Home Radio Sync. So it is on WAOK this weekend. So we'll see if it is AOK being on WAOK. So we'll keep an eye out for that. Like I said, Jess Charman is in a holding pattern. There's probably just going to be a bit of a parachute in for Jess, so we'll keep going and let you know what else is going on the planet. We mentioned juice boxes for Major League Soccer, and we'll take a peek at MLS Next Pro, and we'll take a peek at the Premier League while we're thinking about it. And once again, if you have not had the chance to subscribe to the Morning Espresso, the Jason Longshore newsletter that gets your day up and moving, you can do that. You can listen to it in audio form on your favorite podcatcher. It's on our YouTube channel, and it's also in newsletter form, thanks to our friends at Oglethorpe University for being great partners with launching that every single day. You go to soccerdownhere.beehive, and that's BEEHIIV.com, BEEHIIV.com, and you can subscribe there for everything involving the daily newsletter. You can also go to soccerdownhere.net and figure out how to get it there as well. Okay, since they have not sprung forward yet in England, 11 o'clock, 2 matchups in the Premier League. Bournemouth minus 115 at Turf Moor against Burnley. Sunderland a plus 240 hosting Brighton at a plus 125. 130, Arsenal and Everton. Arsenal big favorite at a minus 256. Chelsea a minus 125 hosting Newcastle. Sorry, Alex. 4 o'clock, West Ham big underdog as Manchester City comes to town at a minus 139. Sunday, Crystal Palace favored on the plus side against Leeds at Selhurst Park at a plus 154. 10 o'clock, Manchester United, Aston Villa, minus 137, hosting Villa, who's a plus 360. Nottingham Forest at 10 o'clock, favored at a plus 125, hosting Fulham at City Ground at a plus 229. Liverpool and Spurs. Spurs are a plus 725. Keep an eye on this one. Liverpool a minus 312. It might be it for Igor Tudor. We don't know, but keep your eye out for it. Then Brentford and Wolves is Monday Night Football. Brentford is a minus 172. Wolves a plus 490. And then they come back and play on Friday night next week to get the next match week up and running. So keep an eye out for that. So that's your 10 matches in the Premier League. So let's see. Down quickly, we mentioned Atlanta United and the twos in MLS Next Pro. They only have the one matchup in MLS Next Pro that's going on, at least that they have the immediate numbers, or they just recognize that it exists. So that's I guess that's really the basic part of all of that. So once again, NWSL is back this weekend. You have the Trinity Rodman signing. She is back in the fold. For Washington, you have the 2 new expansion teams in Boston and Denver. It'll be interesting to see how they come to full song in their weekend. Gotham has landed Guro Reiten before opening weekend, and they bring her on loan from Chelsea through July with a pre-contract already in place through 2029. Jordan Heitema has been shipped from Seattle to Chicago for $500,000 in Berman bucks, and so that is a lot of faith by Chicago in Heitema coming in from Seattle. Panini is now tied to the NWSL and the NWSL LPA for your trading cards. Houston Dynamo have brought back Aliou Ibrahim from Crew, and so that gives them another body to help out what's going on as they continue to go. Reece James is staying at Chelsea long-term, signed a new 6-year deal with them, keeping him there through 2032. Sweden has signed Graham Potter to a 4-year extension. Finalissima, we talked about it, and it's probably not going to be in Doha as planned. Keep an eye on that location. And Robbie Keane is now linked to the Celtic opening. And so he is right now managing at Ferencváros. And so we will see what happens with him at Ferencváros. And will he be moving to his next employ as we go? All right, so let me get into other news. And like I said, we're still waiting on Jess Charman to see if she can join us from the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta training ground and get her intel and what she has been able to discuss with Tata Martino and with Bradley Carnell before we get out of here. So it might end up being it might be a quick thing with Jess, which is perfectly fine. And we'll find out what is on her mind as she gets ready for the call with Lori Lindsay on the weekend. And so Europa League yesterday, it was Midtjylland getting the win over Nottingham Forest by the score of 1-0 as a part of all of that activity. So Midtjylland ends up at City Ground getting the win. And so Forest, by the way, apparently cut their ticket prices twice this week to get a big crowd to City Ground, and it ended up 1-0 for Midtjylland in the round of 16 for the Conference League and Europa League. And that gives me something else that we haven't had the chance to get into and discuss yet. Was what happened yesterday in Europa League and Conference League. So Europa League yesterday, since yesterday was in fact Thursday, Celta de Vigo and Lyon had a 1-1 draw. Ferencváros 2 up on Braga. Genk won at home against Freiburg. Midtjylland, the road win at a plus 475 at Nottingham Forest. Bologna and AS Roma 1-1 draw. Villa 1-0 over Lille. Panathinaikos 1-0 over Betis. Porto over Stuttgart by the score of 2-1. And that is the first legs in these particular matchups. And so after that, that's what the info that you'll carry with you going into the second legs. Conference League also happened yesterday, and your results there in the round of 16. Legs number 1. AEK Athens put up a big number. They were a minus side favorite. They were up 4 against Celje. Crystal Palace and Larnaca was a goalless draw. That's interesting as they go back to Cyprus for the back end of that one. Fiorentina 2-1 win over Rakov Czestochowa as a minus favorite. Sigma Olomouc, a goalless draw against Mainz. AZ Alkmaar 2-1 against Sparta Prague at home. Then the road teams. Shakhtar Donetsk won 3-1 at Lech Poznan. Strasbourg won 2-1 at Rijeka. And Rayo Vallecano won 3-1 at Samsunspor. So you had 4 road teams win yesterday, and 2 of them were on the plus side and 2 of them were on the minus side as favorites. And so looking at all of that activity, that's what you have in the first legs in Europa League and in Conference League. Buddy Ben Jacob says Igor Tudor is battling to see out March despite being given the Liverpool match. Vinay Venkatesham, Johan Lange, and Nick Buescher are key to the final decision. Other caretakers are being looked at already, with several Spurs wanting a change, according to Ben, and especially after what happened what happened in Champions League, losing 5-2. And Tudor did not acknowledge Kinski after subbing him off after 17 minutes, and that has sparked some concern behind the scenes. Sources have told Jacobs and Give Me Sport the decision to start and then sub Kinski surprised some within the hierarchy, who've sounded out potential short-term replacements. And we mentioned Sean Dyche yesterday, and that also includes Ryan Mason, Robbie Keane, currently on the short list. And so, once again, CEO Vinay Venkatesham, sporting director Johan Long, and Joe Lewis's grandson, Nick Buescher, grandson-in-law, Nick Buescher, also believed to have input into the conversation. And yes, once again, Mauricio Pochettino is listed as the front runner for the role after this year. So no surprise with that, really. But, Sean Dyche, who knew that he would be possibly a favorite for this one heading into the end of the season. Pedro Neto has been given a one-match ban for misconduct occurring after being off against Arsenal. He's also been fined £70,000. Christian Romero and Joao Paulinho will both miss Spurs' trip to Liverpool. They're undergoing concussion protocols after colliding with each other in injury time in the 5-2 loss to Atletico de Madrid. Liam Rosenior on Neto's altercation with the ball boy. Quote, I've seen the incident back and it doesn't look good. He wants to get the ball back as quickly as possible. What impressed me was he wanted to apologize straight away. We all make mistakes, and it's about learning from them. So, end quote. So that's Liam Rosenior on the tape. Levi Colwill is another name Chelsea could now look to extend after the Reece James extension, contracted till 2029 with a one-year option. Nothing close yet, according to Jacobs. Willingness from all parties to explore a new deal. Mark Cucurella is believed to have been rewarded with improved terms last year, despite no announcement of it. And so keep an eye out on what is going on at Chelsea. Bodo Glimt, by the way, 5 wins in the Champions League. And so really cool stuff with them as we've seen life north of the Arctic Circle. And that rundown as we take a peek at everything. David, I thought Chris Penso took an admin job last year. That's a good question, Ropes. Who is Tudor putting in net? It's probably not going to be Kinski, so it might be Vicario. I don't think it's going to be Kinski, but so we'll see what he says. But I'm thinking it's not going to be Antonin Kinski. Anybody but. So it's probably ABK or ABA. Anybody but Antonin. That's probably what it's going to be. David was thinking Chris Penso took an admin job last time. Why is he back on the field? He wants Tori on the field and not Chris. I didn't see if Chris Penso had taken an admin job last year. But if it is, it might be a phasing out. David, talking about yesterday down here in Macon, did not know that Marist star Kate Harpering is Matt Harpering's daughter. Yeah. She finished with 40, I think. It was 40 and 18. It was ridiculous. She at one point had 24 of the first 26 points for the Marist School. She's heading to North Carolina. And so it was great to catch up with her and to see her play in person for a championship. I give Kel a lot of credit for sticking and making it difficult for Marist. Basically, yeah, okay, Kate Harpering gets hers. Keep an eye on everybody else. But Mo Morrison came up big in the third and fourth quarter, finished 6 of 9 from the floor, and helped Marist get that win for Kate Harpering on the way out. So one of the top talents in the Southeast, really, in all college basketball, and you got to see that up close and personal as a high school senior on gpb.org and the GPB Sports app. Yes, and the Googie, no doubt. That's why we have teenagers in the house when it comes to doing computer things. Let's see. Yeah, we got to get rid of Fateful Chaser I. And no ropes. I'm not hanging anything on the sprinkler in the hotel room. And you know what? It doesn't have the warning sign. It doesn't have the warning sign attached to it, which is also a problem. So it's not telling you not to. I know not to, but it's just telling you also not to. I'm guessing somebody did a long time ago, and they hung something on it, and they might have either bent the sprinkler or done something that they weren't supposed to. So and so there's no sign with the coat hanger and the circle and the line through it. There's no sign, but I know not to because I have entirely too many clothes. And Ropes, the 96-26 merch. If you missed the conversation yesterday, we caught up with Skate Knopfsinger, the Senior Vice President and Chief Business Officer for Atlanta United, and it was a really cool conversation with her about everything going on for the 17s and season ticket holders and founding members. Season ticket holders, match 18 is Belgium. You also have the opportunity to be in a lottery for tickets for the cup the world is chasing after. So check your emails for that. There's the collaboration of so it's United to Dream with what's going on with the WNBA franchise. That stuff's out. I like the T-shirt. I'm probably going to get that. And it's also just a great discussion about the GA100 project, where they now have 52 pitches now earmarked on the GA100 project. They now have 12 new grants, over $1.15 million outbound in this new round, and they now have 52 pitches earmarked in the GA100 project around the state. And this one, you're adding Statenville, which is a Valdosta suburb. You're adding Rome and Somerville to the conversation. And so it's not just Atlanta. And that was really cool. So if you missed that conversation we had with Skate, you can go back and listen to it. It's on the network all across the board. And it was fun to catch up with her. But yeah, the 9626 is going to burn a hole in my wallet. It really is. And Skate was also wearing the scarf for United to Dream as well. So very, very cool stuff there. No, and Jordan learning about Southwest going through Lambert. And that's, Delta for me or nothing. Delta or me or nothing. And yeah, keep an eye on the falling down for Philadelphia. Yeah, well put, Jordan. I'm glad that you enjoyed San Francisco. And 40 degrees, high of 68 tomorrow, low of 41. So it'll be a little warmer here as we go. So, but yeah, really looking forward to it. Once again, reminder, and get the word out. It's the Atlanta United game tomorrow afternoon, 1380 and 1380 AM on WAOK, Odyssey app, 103.3 HD3. Because of the early start time, Odyssey's had to kind of juggle some things around. So it's on WAOK, 1380 AM, 103.3 HD3, and the Odyssey app, and also your syncing of the devices if you have it to Apple, since it's a night game. Quick note: Sporting has acquired 24-year-old forward Kapita Kabemba. The Angolan winger is joining Sporting in a transfer from Polish side Radomiak Radom, and it's a 3.5-year deal through 28-29, club option for 29-30. He's going to occupy an international spot on the roster, pending receipt of the P1 visa and the international transfer certificate, arriving at the age of 24. Premier attacking players in Poland over the last 2 years, 12+2 and 38 appearances for Radomiak Radom. So attacking talent. David Lee said he was going to bring in 10 to 12 new players, and so that is another one of them in that process. So once again, NWSL kicks off this weekend. It's going to be a really interesting season to see them and see what's going on. Atlanta United is going to be chasing after their first win of the season, as is their opponents in Philadelphia. Great to have Dave Leno come on the show this morning. Great to have Michael Parkhurst come on the show this morning. Great to have Jorge Perez Navarro fight his equipment to come on this morning. And it's great to hang out with you to preview the weekend, as always. So once again, say hi to everybody, and it's great to see all of you. And we had another very, very busy week. Don't forget the Best of SDH AM coming out tomorrow. Probably a lot of opposition research. We'll try and see what guests we have that we can sit there and bring on. So don't forget to set your notifications in the Off the Woodwork podcast section over at 92.9 The Game for the Best of SDH AM. Like I said, probably a lot of previewing of this matchup and looking at Major League Soccer, but it was another great week here across the board on Soccer's Morning Show. So for everybody here, thanks for hanging out with us. I'm off to the Macon Coliseum and the Macon Centerplex to break down everything for another 10 hours. And then we'll be back at it again. This is day 3 of 4. Day 4 is tomorrow. If you're not doing anything soccer related, just have it on in the room. Let us know what you're thinking about everything going on in your part of the universe, as we have the best of high school basketball that the state of Georgia has to offer. So once again, it's another full week here of the best of everything that's going on at SDH AM, which means on a Friday we end it one way. Mucha Platiel played safe. We'll catch up with you over the weekend at Mercedes-Benz with the twos, and back here on Monday to wrap it all up and start it all over again. Mucha Platiel, everybody. Let's wrap it up.
The war was on. The keys on the typewriter had sharp points that kept sticking into our fingers. The dictating equipment started asking us questions, and our beepers sent electric shocks just through our body like a cattle prod. Out in the warehouse, the trucks kept banging into the docks, not even thinking about stopping. Oh, Our frail bodies were strapped to the chairs, and our chairs were chained to the desks. Our pleas for justice were ignored, and the end seemed near. But we busted our slave drivers' little bitty balls. We've charged out of their brick fortress